Dear students, so in this lecture, we are going to cover the concepts of simple interest and compound interest. So you must have heard about these terms, or you must have learned these topics in your school days. But now we are going to revisit this from a different perspectives. So our aim is to get rid of all the formulas. So because I am not a very big fan of remembering formulas, so this is one such chapter which if you understand with greater clarity, you won't ever have to remember formulas. So most of the students think that they will mug up a few formulas and they'll get through this chapter. So this is not that kind of chapter. You have to understand the basics of it. So let's begin. Let's first understand that what is simple interest, what is compound interest. So let's make a comparison. So as you are already aware, all these terms are banking terms. So people deposit money in bank. Many people deposit money in bank. What is the motive behind doing so? What makes people deposit money in bank? Because the bank pays them some interest, extra amount. They tell their customers that thank you for keeping money in our bank, because that money is banks lend it to somebody who needs that money. So there are two kind of people who deposit their money in the bank. They have extra money, so they deposit in the bank. And then there are other type of people who borrow money from the bank. So bank earns from its borrowers and then pays to the ones who have deposited their money in the bank. So this is how bank work. So the purpose of depositing money in the bank is to get interest, to earn interest. Now there are two types of schemes that banks operate upon. Banks either pay simple interest or they pay compound interest. So this chapter is all about understanding these two different modes of generating interest, or these two different schemes on which the bank works. Now what is simple interest? So let's take an example that a person wanted to understand what is the difference between simple interest and compound interest. So what did he do? Let the person be A. So he deposited rupees 1000 in both these schemes. He wanted to understand that what is the difference. Let me deposit and see. So let us see. In case of simple interest, the initial deposit that you have made, and by the way, bank also promises a rate to you, rate. So rate, I mean, if bank tells that they are going to pay at a rate of 10%, it means that this rate is the promise that they have made to their customer, that we are going to pay 10% per year. 10% of what? The money that you have deposited. So now let us understand. In case of simple interest, this is the initial deposit that you have made. That means this person have deposited rupees 1000 in two different schemes. One scheme was working on simple interest and the other scheme is working on compound interest. So let us understand what will happen to the money in case of simple interest. In case of simple interest, the initial deposit 1000 rupees will act as the basis of calculation of interest. So this acts as the basis of calculation of interest. Now the bank has promised to you that it is going to pay you 10% interest. So it means bank will always keep in mind your first deposit, your original deposit. So you have deposited rupees 1000. So if you go to bank after 1 year, and you ask the bank manager that, sir, please tell me how much interest I have earned for this year. So bank manager will tell you, let me calculate. He will see that how much you have deposited actually at the beginning. So at the beginning you have deposited rupees 1000. The bank had promised that they would be paying you at a rate of 10%. So the bank manager will tell you that we are giving you an interest of 10% on your original deposit. So original deposit is rupees 1000. So interest, if you calculate 10% of 1000, that comes out to be rupees 100. So this much interest bank is going to pay you for 1 year. If you tell the bank manager that I will take the entire amount out of the bank, now I don't want to keep my money anymore, so that bank manager will tell that, okay, let me tell you the total amount. So total amount means what? The money that you have deposited plus the interest that have been generated up till that time. So if you ask, okay, I understood that you have given me 100 rupees interest, please tell me what is the total amount in my account. So total amount in his account, so he had deposited 1000 and just now bank has paid interest for the first year. So total amount will be 1000 plus 100, so 1100. If you go to bank again after 1 year, that means 2 years have gone by now. So 2 years have gone by now. So if you go to bank at the end of 2 years, you are going to this bank, the bank who had promised you 10% simple interest, and you again ask the same question. So the bank manager will tell you, let me calculate what is the interest I am going to give you for this year. So for this year, again he will see that what was the original deposit. It doesn't matter how much money is in your account. While calculating interest, manager will always try to see that what was the original deposit made, because the promise has been made on original money. Simple, everything is simple. So original deposit is 1000, so interest again will be rupees 100. So last year also bank had given you rupees 100 as interest. This year also they are giving you the same amount, because it is the same calculation, 10% of 1000. Last year also they did the same calculation, this year also they are doing the same calculation. Now if you ask the bank manager what is the total amount, so he will tell that already 1100 was there in your account, now we are paying you rupees 100 as interest, so 1100 plus 100, so 1200 will be total amount in your account. If you go again after 1 year, that means if you go at the end of 3 years, bank will tell you have come again, so it's time to pay interest again. So first year rupees 100, second year also exactly rupees 100, third year exactly same. So it means same interest is getting added in your account every year. 100 rupees, 100 rupees, 100 rupees. This 100 does not change. Fine. Now this was simple interest. So while calculating simple interest, the bank was, while paying interest, the bank always kept in mind what was the original deposit made. Original deposit made. Now if you summarize this, then you can say that what happened to the money in these 3 years. So let's summarize this entire calculation, this entire journey of money for these 3 years. So let's do that, because by doing so a few things will be cleared. So now let's see what happened in these 3 years. So year zero, that means you deposited 100, deposited 1000. Year one, interest earned and total amount. So for year 1, interest earned was rupees 100. For year 2, again the interest earned was rupees 100. For year 3, again the interest was exactly same. So without guessing, you can say next year also you are going to get same amount as interest. What is the total amount? So total amount is gradually getting increased by rupees 100 per year. So 3 years, that means this is your original deposit, but plus three terms of interest, three times interest has come in your bank. So this is how you deal with the concept of simple interest. So if somebody asks you, if this same person goes to bank after let's say 22 years, 22 years, then what will happen to him? What will be the total amount? So 1000 was his original deposit. He has gone to bank after 22 years. So this is his original deposit plus 22 times interest has already come in his account. So each year 100 rupees. So this is the approach that you have to keep while solving questions of simple interest. So everything is simple. Always the money, the calculation is done while paying the interest. The bank will only keep in mind your original deposit, the original deposit that you have made. Fine. So we will see the concept of compound interest once we are done with simple interest, so that once you understand simple interest thoroughly, then you will be in a better position to understand what is the concept of compound interest. So let's begin. So now let's see the mathematics behind simple interest, concept of simple interest. So let's suppose you have deposited original amount. So original amount that you deposit in the bank is known as principal amount or the original deposit. So let the principal be P, rate equal to R%. If you have deposited your money in the bank for let's say T years. So what is the maths going on? Please understand. So you have deposited P. So each year bank is giving you R% of P as interest. R% of P as interest each year. Every year. So you have deposited the money for a total of T years. So if you think carefully, total interest that you are going to earn is equal to T times of interest earned per year, interest earned per year, because same interest you are going to get every year. So just calculate how much interest bank is paying you for 1 year and then multiply it with T. So what is the interest bank is giving you for 1 year? R% of P. So T into R% of P. T into R% of P. So this is equal to T into R by 100 into P. And from here you get the famous formula that interest is equal to P into R into T by 100. Now you understand that why this formula is given the way it is. Because each year bank is giving you R% as interest. R% of what? R% of the original money that you have deposited. That means R% of principal. And you have deposited the money for T years. So each year same amount is coming as interest. So for T years, total interest that you are going to get is equal to T times of interest earned per year, and that comes out to be this much. So this is the basic most formula. If you want to remember it, well and good. Even if you don't remember it, you can understand it. If you understand it, it is better than remembering, because it doesn't make much of a difference in this chapter. We will realize very soon. So let's move forward. So let's take a few solved examples. So what we have done here is that we have divided this entire topic or entire chapter into patterns. So as we have done with the other topics, so same is the case. Same way we are going to deal with this as well. So we have divided this into topics. So let's see the basic most type of questions that you can expect from this chapter. So here is the first question. How much time will take for an amount of rupees 450 to yield rupees 81 as interest at 4.5 per annum of simple interest? Now the original deposit that you have made is rupees 450. So principal is equal to rupees 450. What is the interest you are earning per year? 4.5% of your original deposit. So interest per year is equal to what? 4.5% of this amount. So 4.5% of rupees 450. So let's see how much this comes out to be. So 4.5 divided by 100 into 450. So if you remove this, one more zero can be added here. So this 0 and this 0 gets cancelled. So 45 into 45 divided by, again this can be cancelled, 9, 20, and this can again be cancelled. So 9 by 4. So 81 by 4. So interest earned in 1 year is equal to rupees 81 by 4. Now question is, how many years are required to earn an interest of rupees 81? So let's suppose T years are required. So each year you are earning this much. So in T years you are going to earn T times of that. 1 year you are earning this much as interest. So in T years you are going to earn T times, because this is simple interest and this has to be equal to rupees 81. So from here you can see that time T comes out to be equal to 4 years. Did we use any formula? No, we didn't. It is not required. In case you would have used formula, suppose that a few students are adamant, they are not comfortable with using the logical approach. If they tend to use formula, then how would they have solved this question? Even if they would have solved this question using formula, answer must have been the same, because if you are solving it correctly, whatever the method is, that is immaterial. So let's use the formula approach. What should be the formula approach? So let's see. So let's suppose this happens in T years. So interest earned is equal to P into R into T upon 100. So here interest earned is 81. So 81 must be equal to, principal is 450, rate is 4.5, time is what we are trying to calculate, by 100. So now 9 2 times, so 9 and 81 cancels. So 4.5 and 9 also cancels. So time again 2 into 2, 4 years. So you can use either approach. If you remember formula, if you are more inclined towards using formula, you are most welcome. Now let's move to the next. What will be the ratio of simple interest earned by certain amount at the same rate of interest for 6 years and that for 9 years? Please understand what is the meaning of the question. So you have deposited an amount P in the bank. P is paying you R% interest. Question is, what is the ratio of simple interest earned in 6 years to that in 9 years? So two different scenarios. In 6 years, how much interest you are going to earn, and in 9 years, how much you are going to earn. So ratio of basically these two figures. So R% bank is paying you in 1 year. So in 6 years, bank must have paid you 6 times R% of P. In 9 years, bank would have paid 9 times of this same amount. Interest of 1 year. So first find interest of 1 year. Multiply it with 6, you will get interest for 6 years. Multiply it with 9, you will get interest for 9 years. So basically, both these are going to get cancelled. Interest for 1 year, same in both the cases. So what is the ultimate ratio? 6 is to 9, which can be simplified to 2 is to 3. So let's take next example. If J is the interest on K and K is the interest on L, the rate and time is same on both the cases. what is the relation between J, K and L? Fine. So let's suppose time is equal to T, rate is equal to R percent. Please read the question carefully. J is the interest on K. That means if you deposit rupees K for time T years, rate R percent, you are going to get J as interest. Fine. So you can say that J is equal to T times T years into interest of 1 year. Interest of 1 year is what? R percent of K. So you can say J is equal to T times, because time is equal to T years, T times into interest given per year. So interest given per year will be equal to R percent of your original deposit. Original deposit is this. Similarly, K is the interest on L. So you can say that K is equal to T times interest earned per year. So interest earned per year. So R percent of L, because K is the interest on L. So in this case you are depositing L. Now what is the relation between J, K and L? So if you take the ratio of these two figures, so if you divide this, so it means J by K is equal to R percent and T. These figures would cancel. So J by K is equal to K by L. So from here you can see that J into L is equal to K square. So which option is correct? So J into L is equal to K square. None of okay. So yeah, this is K square. They have written it as K into K. So J into L is equal to K square. So this is the correct answer. So let's see the next one. Anoop borrowed rupees 800 at 6% per annum and rupees 1200 at 7% per annum for the same duration. Okay, he had to pay rupees 1584 in all as interest. Find the time period. So a person has borrowed money from two different sources. He had borrowed rupees 800 at 6%, and from another source he had borrowed rupees 1200 at 7%. For how many years he had borrowed, we don't know, but both these amount have been borrowed for same duration. So let's assume number of years or time to be equal to T years. So he had to pay, total interest that he paid is rupees 1584. So find the time period. So let's see. So interest that he is paying per year, interest paid per year is equal to how much? He had taken rupees 800 at 6%. So what interest is he going to pay to this person? He has borrowed from two different persons. So this person, he needs to pay interest of 6% of 800. So 6 by 100 into 800. And to the second person, what is he going to pay? 7% of 1200. So 7 by 100 into 1200. So this is equal to 48 plus 84. So this comes out to be equal to how much? So 48 and 84. So 120 plus 12. So 132. So each year he is paying rupees 132 as interest. But in total he had paid this much as interest. This much as interest. So you can say that T into 132, because he have kept the money for T years. So each year he is giving 132 rupees as interest. But he have borrowed money for T years. So you can say that T into 132 must be equal to 1584. So if you solve, T is equal to 1584 divided by 132. So 132 is a multiple of 11. I think this is also a multiple of 11. So both are multiples of 11. So let's cancel that. So this is 12 times 144. So this comes out to be 12. So time is equal to 12 years. This is the correct answer. So let's move forward. If rupees 4 becomes rupees 10 in 50 years at simple interest. So a person has deposited rupees 4 in the bank, but he gets back rupees 10. He gets back rupees 10. What does this mean? It means that bank has paid from its own pocket rupees 6 to you, because original deposit was only rupees 4. So you have given the bank rupees 4 and the bank is giving you back rupees 10. It means total interest that you have earned, total interest earned is equal to 10 minus 4 is equal to rupees 6, and this rupees 6 you have earned in 50 years, not in a single year. That means each year bank was paying you same money, so 50 years. So this is the total interest that you have earned in 50 years. So you can say that 50 into interest for 1 year, I is equal to 6. So from here I is equal to 6 by 50, interest earned per year. So interest per year is equal to 6 by 50. So what is the rate percentage? So you have to see that you deposited rupees 4, and because of which each year interest earned is equal to 6 by 50. So what is the rate that bank is giving to you? So therefore prevailing rate of interest or return of investment, is technically the same. Rate of interest is equal to, you have to ask yourself a question. I have deposited rupees 4 in the bank is giving me 6 by 50 as interest. So 6 by 50 is what percent of 4? So that percent is the rate that bank is paying you. So 6 by 50 is what percent of 4? So let's find out. So 6 by 50 divided by 4 into 100%. So this, when simplified, 6 by 50 into 4 into 100. So 50 into 4, 200. So 2 times. So this is 3. 3% is the effective rate of interest that bank is paying to you. Fine. So let's move to next one. A sum of rupees 12,500 amounts to rupees 15,500 in 4 years at the rate of simple interest. What is the rate of interest? Please understand what has happened. So you have deposited rupees 12,500 in the bank. In 4 years, what have happened? Each year bank was paying you interest. So 4 installments of interest have come in your account. Each year bank was paying you same money. So in 4 years, the total money in your account becomes this much, 15,500. So you can find what is the interest you are earning per year. So let's see. So 12,500 plus 4 times I is equal to 15,500. So from here 4I is equal to 3,000, or from here I is equal to 750. So interest earned per year is rupees 750 because I is interest for a single year. So what is the rate? What is the rate that bank is offering to you? So rate, to answer this question you have to ask that I have deposited 12,500 and because of which bank is paying me rupees 750. So you will have to ask yourself a question that 750 is what percentage of 12,500. So let's solve this. So 750 divided by 12,500 into 100%. So let's see, this 0 and this two zeros cancel. 75 and 125 both are multiples of 25. So you can cancel this easily. 5 times, 30 times. So 30 by 5, 6. So 6% is the effective rate of interest that bank is offering to you. Please understand how we have written this. This was your original deposit, and since you are going to bank after 4 years, so in those 4 years bank must have given you interest 4 times. So that's why 12,500 plus these 4 installments of interest had already come in your account. So if you add them, then you can see that the total amount is 15,500. Fine. So let's move to next one. A certain sum of money doubles itself in certain number of years at certain percent. Everything is certain except the answer. Answer is uncertain. So a certain sum of money doubles itself in certain number of years at a certain percent simple interest. If the rate and the number of years are equal, then rate percentage is equal to what? What does this mean? It means if you have deposited P in the bank, if you have deposited P in the bank, after some year the bank gave you back double the money. That means bank gives you back 2P. So what does this mean? It means you deposit your money in the bank. So your deposit can be considered to be 100%. This is what you deposited, but bank gave you back 200%. So bank has paid you total interest that you have earned is equal to 100%. This was your original deposit, but you are getting back 200%. So this additional 100% is what the bank has given to you. So total interest that you have earned is equal to 100% of principal amount. What is the question? If the rate and number of years are equal, so let rate be equal to number of years and let that be equal to X. So what is being conveyed? So X% was paid to you for X years. So X% was paid for X years, and that came out to be equal to 100% of P. So you can say that X% when multiplied by X should be equal to 100%, because ultimately 100% has accumulated as profit or interest. So each year X% was coming into your account. So this money has come for X years. So total interest that has accumulated in your account can be given by this X% into X. So this is equal to 100%. So from here you can see that X square is equal to 100, which means X must be equal to 10%. So this is the correct answer. So let's see what this question is about. Simple interest on a certain sum is 16 by 25 of the sum. Find the rate, percent and time if both are numerically equal. So what is meant by this question is that you deposited a money in the bank. After few years you observed that the ratio of simple interest and the amount you have deposited was equal to 16 by 25. So you can say that total interest by original deposit or principal, this ratio is given as 16 by 25. So you can assume that rupees 25 was deposited, because you can assume this to be same. you can assign mathematical values. Let original principal be 25. So you can simply take these very values from here. Why to complicate things? You can take these values instead. So can't you say that I deposited 25 rupees in the bank? After few years, I noticed that total interest I have earned is rupees 16. Fine. So you deposited 25 rupees in the bank, and after few years you are noticing that till now rupees 16 has come as interest in your account. Now 16 is what percent of 25? You can take formula approach, but I would tell you how to think, because it is not only about simple interest, compound interest. These concepts that you are learning here are applicable in various other cases as well. So understand, 16 is what percent of 25? So 16 by 25 into 100. So 64%. So it means in some years slowly interest was coming, R percent was coming in your account, and this added up to 64%. This added up to 64%. What is the question? Rate, percent and time are same. That means every year bank was giving you R percent, and this bank has done for R years. So total interest that got collected in your account must be equal to R into R percent, and this comes out to be 64%. So from here it is obvious that R is equal to 8. So rate is also 8% and time is also 8%. If you want to take formula approach, then what should your approach be? So if you take the formula approach or the formula method, then we can say that rate is equal to R percent, time is equal to R years, because both are numerically equal. Fine. Interest earned is 16, principal deposited is 25. So use the formula I is equal to P into R into T by 100, or total interest rather. So 16 is equal to 25 into rate is R, time is also R, divided by 100. So R square is equal to 64. So same answer, R is equal to 8. So you can use both the approaches, logical approach as well as formula approach, whatever comes easy to you. So let's take next example. A lady took loan from a bank at the rate of 12% per annum simple interest. After 3 years, she had to pay rupees 5,400 interest only for the period. Find the principal amount borrowed by her. So what is being said here is that this lady borrowed P, and each year she is paying 12%. So after 3 years, that means 12% plus 12% plus 12%. This is the total interest she has to pay for 3 years. So you can say 36% of P. 36% of P came out to be equal to 5,400, because total interest in 3 years, each year 12%, so 12 plus 12 plus 12, each year the interest generated is this much. So 36% of P comes out to be 5,400. We have to find the principal amount, so we have to find P only. So we can say 36 by 100 into P is equal to 5,400. So 36 and 54 both are multiples of 18. So 18 2s are 36, 18 3s are 54, so 300. So 2 and 100 can also be cancelled, 50. So from here you can see that P is equal to 300 into 50. So comes out to be 15,000. 15,000 is the final answer. So let's move to next one. The simple interest on a certain sum of money for 2.5 years at 12% per annum is rupees 40 less than the simple interest on the same sum for 3.5 years at 10% per annum. So please understand what is being said. So suppose you deposit an amount P in two different cases. First case is you deposit it for 2.5 years at 12% per annum. So 2.5 years at 12% per annum. So this is approach 1, case 1. There is another way you can deposit the money. Case 2. Instead of doing this, you can deposit the money for 3.5 years. 3.5 years. And in that case, you are going to get paid 10% interest. So it is being said that the simple interest earned from this case is 40 less than the simple interest earned from this case. So in case 1, what is the total interest that you will earn? So 2.5 times of 12. So here you see interest generated, interest accumulated or generated in 2.5 years is 2.5 into 12% of P, and in this case interest generated is 3.5 into 10% of P, because each year 10% of P, so in 3.5 years this much. So it is being said that this number is mathematically 40 less than this number. So 2.5 into 12, 30% of P, and this is 35% of P. So it is being said that this number 30% of P is 40 less than 35% of P. So it means 35% of P minus 30% of P is equal to rupees 40. So from here you can say that 5% of P is equal to rupees 40. So we have to calculate P. So 5% came out to be rupees 40. So what is 100% of P? Because P is equal to 100% of P. Same thing. Anything when refers to itself is 100% of itself. So 5% is 40. So what is 100%? So 100% is 20 times of this. So 20 into 40, because if you multiply 20 with 5, then only it becomes 100%. So if 5% is rupees 40, so P is equal to 100% of P is equal to 20 times of 5% of P. So that's why I can immediately multiply 20 into 40. Answer is 800. Nitin borrowed some money at 6% for the first 3 years, 9% for the next 5 years, and 13% for the period beyond 8 years. So what is meant by this? So suppose you have borrowed money for long term. So this is the condition. If you pay it for first 3 years, for first 3 years they are charging you only 6%. So 6% for first 3 years, 6%, 6%, 6%, and then after 3 years, for the next 5 years, they are going to charge you 9%. So 9%, 9%, 9%, 9%, 9%, and after that 13%. So this is the meaning of the question. Now, if the total interest paid by him at the end of 11 years is this much, how much money did he borrow? That means this person have borrowed some money. Let the money be equal to P for how many years? 11 years. So in those 11 years, how much interest is he going to pay? So 11 years. So first 3 years, effective rate of interest is 6%. for the next 5 years, rate of interest is 9%. So he has taken loan for 11 years. So up till now, 5 plus 3, 8 years have gone by. So another 3 years, he will be paying interest of 13%. So total interest will be equal to 6% into 3 plus 9% into 5 plus 13% into 3 of the money that he has borrowed of P. So 6% into 3, 18%, 9 into 5, 45%, 13 into 3, 39%. So this percent of P, so this comes out to be 18 and 45, 63. So 63 plus 39 is equal to how much? 63. So 90, 102, 102% of P. So the total money that you have paid is 8160. So 102% of P must be equal to 8160. Because if you calculate carefully the total interest, if you express in terms of percentage, that came out to be equal to 102% of P. So 102% of P is given as 8160. So let's solve this. So 102 by 100 into P is equal to 8160. So 102 when multiplied by 8 becomes 816. So this is 80 if you cancel this out. So principal that was borrowed is equal to 100 into 80, 8000. Fine. So let's move to next one. Adam borrowed some money at the rate of 6% for the first 2 years. So almost the same question. 2 years, rate is 6%. At the rate of 9% for the next 3 years. For next 3 years, 9%, and at the rate of 14% for the period beyond this, beyond 5 years. That means after 5 years, after this, you will have to pay for 14 at the rate of 14%. Question is if he pays a total interest of this much at the end of 9 years, then how much did he borrow? So let me assume that he borrowed amount P. So he has kept that money for 9 years. So 9. So first 2 years 6%, next 3 years 9%, but he have borrowed total for 9 years. So 4 more years are remaining. So in the last 4 years he was paying interest at the rate of 14%. So total interest that he paid, if you calculate in terms of percentage, it will be 6% into 2 plus 9% into 3 plus 14% into 4 of P. So 6 into 2, 12% plus 9 into 3, 27% plus 14 into 4. So 14 fours are 56% of P. P is the money that was borrowed. So 12 plus 27, 39. So 39 plus 56. So 39, 56. So this is 95% of P. So 95% of P is given as 11400. So 95 by 100 into P is equal to 11400. So 95 and 100 can be cancelled out. Both are multiples of 5. So 19 by 20. So from here, if you calculate, principal amount borrowed comes out to be 11400 into 20 divided by 19. So 19 6 are 114. So this is 600 into 20 comes out to be equal to rupees 12,000. So 12,000 is the correct answer. Let's move to the next one. Rupees 800 becomes rupees 956 in 3 years at a certain rate of simple interest. If the interest is increased by 4%, what will rupees 800 become in 3 years? Fine. So please understand. So you deposit rupees 800 and in 3 years it becomes rupees 956. Question says that if the rate of interest was increased by 4%, then 800 would have become how much in 3 years? Now so 800 is becoming 956, but the question is, if 4% more is charged, then what will happen? So if rate is increased by 4%, additional interest generated in 3 years will be equal to what? 4% into 3, because they are saying interest is increased by 4%. So additionally, now 800 is becoming 956. But if you do this, so 4% plus 4% plus 4% will also get accumulated in 3 years. So effectively speaking, additional interest that would be generated then would be equal to 4% into 3, that is equal to 12% of 800. So what is 12% of 800? That is equal to 96. So this is additional gain that you are going to make. You are already making rupees 956, but if you do this, then additional 96 rupees you are going to earn. So this comes out to be equal to 1052. Now see the next one. A sum invested at 5% simple interest per annum grows to rupees 504 in 4 years. The same amount at 10% simple interest per annum in 2.5 years will grow to what? We don't know what the money is. See, what is the question? Sum is invested. So let's suppose that the sum that is being referred to be equal to P. So what has happened? P was deposited at 5% simple interest. It was deposited for 4 years. So P, this much you deposited. Each year you are getting 5%. You are given 5% as interest by bank. So this is what you deposit. This is what bank is giving back to you. So in 4 years, effectively speaking, the total amount that got deposited or got accumulated was 120%. So this is equal to 120%, which has been given to be equal to 504. So you can say that 120% of P when calculated came out to be equal to this much, rupees 504. Now the question is, if the same amount at 10% simple interest is deposited for 2.5 years, that means you deposit 100% and in 2.5 years at a rate of 10%, the bank is going to give you this much from its own pocket as interest. In second case, so in second case, you are going to get back a total of 125% of P. So the question reduces to that if 120% of P is equal to this much, what is 125% of P equal to? So you can use the concept of proportionality. So 120% of P divided by 125% of P must be equal to 504 by missing figure X. Proportionality, because we are finding percentage of same number. So this P and P cancels out. 120 and 125 both are multiples of 5. So from here 24 by 25 is equal to 504 by the missing number. So I'm taking it here now, no spaces left. So 24 and 504. So how many times? Is this a multiple of? So yes, 21 times. So the missing number is 21 into 25. So 21 into 25 is how much? So 25 into 2500, 525. So this is the final answer. So you have to understand these, small concepts, that if bank is paying you 5% each year, then you think in terms of percentage. So you yourself have deposited 100% and bank is paying you 5% each year. So if you go to the bank after 4 years, the total that you are going to get back is 100% that you have deposited plus 555. That means a total of 20% as interest, which when added together becomes 120%. So you have to apply these kind of concepts. You will reach answer easily, much easily, without using any formula. Are we using any formula? We are not. So even if you forget the formulas, it's, you are not going to miss out on any question. Fine. So let's move to the next one. So let's see this one. A sum was put at simple interest at a certain rate for 3 years. Had it been put at 2% higher rate, it would have fetched rupees 360 more. Find the sum. So question is, certain sum, let's assume that to be equal to P, it was deposited at R% for 3 years. That means for certain percent, R% for 3 years. So this is what you left in your account. This is what bank is giving to you. Fine. The question says that if the rate is increased by 2%, that means instead of paying R%, if the bank starts to pay you 2% more, R plus 2%, then you are going to get rupees 360 more. So now you are getting 100 plus 3R%. But if bank starts to give you 2% more, so you can say that additional gain in 3 years. So each year now you are gaining 2% additional. So 2% into 3 whole multiplied by P. So this is what you are going to gain additionally. So this is given to be equal to rupees 360, because he is saying you are going to earn rupees 360 more. So additional income or additional interest in terms of percentage can be expressed this way. In terms of money, it is clearly given to be equal to rupees 360. Additional 2%. So in 3 years, additional 6% will get accumulated. So you can say that 6% of P is equal to 360. So let's solve what is P equal to. So 6 by 100 into P is equal to 360. 6 and 36 are multiples. So P comes out to be equal to 60 into 100, 6,000. Let's move to next one. A certain amount earns simple interest of rupees 1750 after 7 years. Had the interest been 2% more, how much more interest would he have earned? Okay, fine. So this guy deposited his money 100%. After 7 years, he realized that the interest he has earned is 1750. So 100 plus 7 R percent, R being the rate per year. So this is given to be equal to 1. So 7 R percent. Basically, this is the interest that he has earned. So this is given to be equal to 1750. So 7 R percent is equal to 1750. So 7 R percent of P is given to be this much. So 7 into R by 100 into P is equal to 1750. We don't know what is P, we don't know what is R. So two variables are there, only a single equation. So you will not be able to find out the values of R and P. Now what is the question? If 2% more interest is given, that means now he was getting only R percent for 7 years. Now he starts to get 2% more. So if you cannot calculate R and P, how can you calculate R plus 2? So it is meaningless question. Data is inadequate. Let's move to next one. A simple interest on a certain amount is triple the money when invested for 16 years. So what is the rate offered? What is the meaning of the question? The question means that you deposited money and after 16 years you realize that the simple interest that you have earned is triple the money. Simple interest earned is triple the money. So in these 16 years, total interest earned, so you deposited 100%. Interest that you have earned is said to be triple the money. That means you deposited 100% and as interest you have earned 300%. So rate per year given by bank. So this 300% have accumulated in 16 years at the rate of R percent per year. So you can say that 16 into R percent must be equal to 300%. The total accumulation is effectively equal to 300%. So this has happened in 16 years. So you can say that 16 into R is equal to 300. So from here R is equal to 300 by 16. So how much this comes? Both are multiples of, both are divisible by 4. So this is 75 by 4. So 75 by 4 is how much? So 18.75. Okay, fine. Yeah, this is the correct answer. A sum fetched a total simple interest of 4016.25 at the rate of 9% per annum in 5 years. What is the sum? So let the sum be P. So in 5 years, total interest earned, total interest generated is 9% into 5, that is 45% of P, because 9% is given per year and this is done for 5 years. So total interest that got accumulated, so 9 into 5, 45% of whatever you would have deposited. So you can say that 45% of P came out to be equal to this much. So 45 and okay, it's better if you multiply this. So P is equal to, when cross multiply, 100. So 401625 divided by 45. So I think they should cancel out. Both are multiples of 5 at least. Multiples of 5. So 9 times. So 8, 0, 3, 2, 5. So is this cancelable by 9? So let's see. So 83, so 22. Yes. So 8, so 72. So this comes out to be equal to 8, 9, 2, yeah, 8925 is the, yeah, so this is the final answer, 8925.